We intention what we want to do all during the whole week. This is something that Paulino and I are working currently. So I would like to hear, Paulino, what did you do today? Have you planned your week, or is something that you never thought about?
No, actually, I did. Um, I'm being intentional of whatever I'm doing. I'm doing towards this. um, like for example, you messaged the group yesterday, like um, having 1 hour and a half, even that it's was Sunday.
Mm-hmm.
So I took like, okay, let's try 1 hour and a half, and I realized that 4 hours are not 1 hour and a half, but when I realized was 4 hours doing what I was doing, and
Yeah.
I didn't even know that I was spending that much of time, but it was great. I mean, I review my whole last week
Mm-hmm.
and set the core for planning this week,
Mm-hmm.
which I did um, using both my system and the ClickUp system.
Uh-huh.
Currently, I'm using both just to um, see where the gaps are. Like, okay, I
Mm-hmm.
know that at some point I will choose one, whatever that works better for me.
Yeah.
Oh, obviously, I tend to probably keep the ClickUp thing because it's easier than just typing things in Excel.
Yeah.
But yeah, but the idea is to see if I keep using both, and if it makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and yeah, and I planify my whole week.
Perfect. Okay, so that's good. What I want to do here, like in this call, we actually wanted to. Well, in my case, I wanted to give Paulino the opportunity to share the screen and do the spreadsheet and everything, right? But we're not gonna do that because um, here's the thing: we can give you, for example, we can give you the step by step for Upwork. We can give you the Paulino's spreadsheet, so you can, Maria Jose with the hat. Let's go! It's officially Christmas, guys. Hey! All right. So what I want you to guys see here is to understand the fundamentals of getting things done, right? So, what are the fundamentals basically? So, at this point, you have to admit something, right? That is awareness. So, you came to the community. Let's do this, okay? So, what happened actually in this journey of yours? So, I'm gonna share my entire screen. Basically, you guys enter right here, right? You guys are feeling that you want to earn more money, that you want to get more clients, that you want to find a way that is not doing so crypto scamming shit. So you want to actually understand how to sell your services, instead of selling drugs and your organs or whatever. So you want to be legit because you have, conscious. So you look for help because at this point you're already doing what you know what to do, right? Because if you already knew before joining the community, before joining everything, like if you already knew how to get 10K, for example, you want to be here. So you're here because you want to learn how to get more cash. What happened is that when you get to the 6 fee, let's say, and you want to be freelancer, now you have to identify yourself as someone that earns more cash that you're used to, and that's not normal. Like your nervous system and your mindset is not programmed or aligned with it, so you're starting doing different things that your whole life you didn't imagine, like being in a community, like selling your services. Hey, this is weird, I only know how to work for someone. What the fuck is this? I don't want to feel this. So you start self-sabotage your own journey because you want the ego wants to keep you in what feels familiar. So that's what we work in this performance call in the first weeks, in the first models. That is the new identity, right? So it's the fundamentals, the mindset, right? So what is something that we want to do about this? Then we go into more planning, the market research, profile optimization, yada yada yada. But this is more like, this is why it is, the market research is like the top, because it's the most uncomfortable part of you researching and planning, and then everything is downhill. Like everything is just execution. But here, the fundamentals and mindset is just like, is the hardest part of the climb, when you're like, I don't want to do this. This is so uncomfortable. I don't want to do this. I don't want to do this. And people get stuck here, and they prefer to go back than to keep pushing. Right? From here, does that make sense to everyone? Yeah. Okay. Perfect. So perfect. So what we want to talk right now? Fundamentals, the mindset. Okay. Why? I'd hate. I've been having one-on-ones lately, like the previous week, and everyone is like, "Oh, you motivate so bad," you know. "Oh, you are a motivator. You want to motivate people. You want to." I don't want to motivate anyone. Like, motivation is the worst thing that can happen to anyone, because it has been uh, ha sido prostituido, basically. What I mean by this is like, you need to feel motivated all day. You have to be excited. You have to feel good, and you have to be, fuck that shit. Do you guys think I send messages at 3 a.m.? Do you guys think I'm like, yes, this is amazing? Oh, yeah. Even on Sundays, I wake up and I'm like, ah, I have to do it. I have to do it for myself. So with you guys, actually, and we have a chat with Maria Jose and with other people, that, do you even sleep? I take naps during the day, 5-minute naps. Yeah. So when you're doing this, and this is the good thing about the community, is that you can leverage that. That a good habit is, if you have a friend, if you have the community, if you have someone that you can text in the morning, that triggers you to be like accountable on yourself. So for me, that's the community. So I texted every morning, "Hey, what up, guys?" And even though I'm the coach, so I'm like, yeah, I need to perform. I need to do the things that these guys want to do, so I can prove them that it's possible, because I'm not special. I don't have any new genetical code or anything. Like, I am probably one of the stupidest people that I knew, and I have to be so obsessed in learning so I can diminish my stupidity. At that point, I have to be right. So that's awareness. Now, what do we want to do in this call? Basically, understanding what we're doing, right? So, as a high performers fundamentals, there are several things that we need to understand. Everyone feels aligned at this point, or someone feels confused? Yeah. Okay. Ever, nice. Stefan, I don't know if you're hearing, Stefan. Jose Yañez, Paulino. All right, perfect. So, what do we want to do? I want you guys understand one thing. That is basically, what is a high performer? What is a high performer? So, beyond that is actually, what is something that they do, right? What are the actions, the behaviors that it takes? So for that is basically understanding the firmware that is behind the software. Because the software, if you want to see, the software is basically like Upwork. Software is the ClickUp for Paulino that we're working on it. Software is the waking up early. That's the software, on a summary. The firmware, that is the thing that is down. Yeah, well, you guys are software dev, so you understand what I'm saying. So the firmware, that is the base of it, it has to be strong. So what is the firmware? What is the base of a high performer? So first of all, takes responsibility. Takes responsibility, saying everything is my fault. So with these guys, everything is my fault. This is, if someone's taking notes, I highly suggest to take notes on on this, because you need, this is not a one time thing that is going to be solved in an hour, right? Because it's basically like, I always say that this is a metaphor, like, um this is the gym, right? So we have the mental gym, and these beliefs, identities, behaviors, everything that we are doing has to become something that you can identify with. Because I'm telling you guys, hey, this is what a high performer is, the identity is coming from, because he takes responsibility, and you didn't, maybe you didn't even consider that, so you're thinking like, ah, yeah, okay, sounds cool, but you don't identify with this belief. Make sense, right? So, having saying this, is basically, uh, when it says everything is my fault, it's saying the job that I have is my fault, is what I deserve. My relationships is what I deserve. My current body is what I deserve, because every action that I've taken in the, it doesn't matter what area of life I took, it was my decision, and this is what I'm living right now. This is the consequence. Consequence, it doesn't have to be right or wrong. It's just data. So at this point, you got to the point that you believe enough to invest in yourself for a curse to get more money, right? But the question is, are you putting your faith, your belief, your actions into the course or into yourself? Do you really believe that you have the behaviors and the actions necessarily to make this happen? Yes. Okay, perfect. And why yes, even though you have, even though you're afraid, even though you're scared, why yes? Because you already believe in yourself. This is just the first step. This is just the first step. So, takes responsibility. Do I have what it takes to make this happen? Yes. And then you ask yourself, you always want to be like the devil's advocate. Like, if you have a intrusive thought, or you have like a pessimist thought or something like that, do I have to take what it happens? Yes. And so, why? Do I deserve this? Yes. Why? Because I already took the steps necessarily, because I already took the first step on this life. So kudos, you took the first step. Now we need to take the other 99 steps. And how do you know what is the 99 steps? Ah, that's a very good question, Maria Jose. Thank you so much for asking. Then you can go back to the roadmap, and you're, where am I right now? Ah, you go like, so where am I right now? Okay, I am in, okay, I already have the onboarding. Already, okay, okay. So I'm in the mindset. Okay, do I already know what is the market research? What's a market research? Daniel, do you know what the market research? And you're like, no, no, entonces I need to go back to fundamentals. And you always, it's like, it's not linear, or the mountain like you're seeing. This is just graphic, because man, you can go to proposals and then you have to go back to fundamentals, because you get to the point that you're sending connections, that you're sending a lot of things, and you're basically saying, who am I to being doing this? Like, nah, 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 I rather stick with my job, or nah, I rather, I just leave it like this. You can do it, like, it's your life. No one is, again, no one is putting you a fucking gun in the head and telling you, hey, you should quit your job, you should become a freelancer. No, it's something that you want to do. Is it, or are you doing this just for validation? Is it something that you really want to do to prove yourself and help your family and help your future, because you don't want to depend on anyone if you want to get more money, or do you just want the applause? Hmm? So there's something that I tell you guys, so you can ask yourself, like, why am I here? You know, Yeah, the community is cool. The people, the guide, the steps, the mentors, everything. Like, even at this point, I don't think the people in this call, they are not the same. They're not the same people that were the ones that enter. Like, it is impossible. For example, I already know Paulino is gonna be successful, Maria Jose is gonna be successful, Maria Jose Yanez is gonna be successful. Like, everyone in this call, there are a few. We have 400 people. And the ones here are the ones that always connect because they are ones compromised enough to make a change. And I really hope that the actions that you're taking is not only connecting with this goal, but actually, doing the profile optimizations and the connections, doing the market reach, that doing this the things. This is just, if you want to see in a metaphoric way, this is just like a car maintenance. So you go to the Upwork, you go to the LinkedIn call, you go to the performance call, and you go here just basically to to go to the gym. If you're boxing, you just shadow boxing, okay, but you need, that you need to know to go through the trenches. So if you go back, what is a high performer? You takes responsibility. Everything is my fault. I have everything that it takes to make this happen. Everything that I have right now in my life is the things that I deserve, money wise, relationships, everything. Everything is my fault. So, number two, what is, I love this. The number two is never, never motivated. A high performer never is never motivated. Why? Paulino, we talked about this. You wanna share why we are never motivated, my friend?
Because the motivation is just some sort of field that gets at some point gets empty, and you run out of that motivation, so you have nothing if you don't have the pillars or the tools to keep you above of what you can say the, I don't know, your your bar to say normal people, or your comparison bar of what you feel it's a normal person for you. If you raise that bar a little bit, you are performing higher at some point. So the motivation is at some point is good to start, uh, and it's a boost, but that's runs out. And if you don't have something that keeps you above of that line, you will end up in the same position as you started. So that's why you cannot rely just on motivation. It doesn't, it's not going to work if you want to keep this in a constant, let's say, graph pointed to up, or
Mm,
at least above of the normal bar that you set for yourself.
yeah. Okay. Okay. I like it, Maria Jose. You're saying that motivation is unreliable because it's not always there. Why is motivation not always there?
Yeah, I was thinking about that one. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, I was thinking about that, and I'm not really sure why motivation is not really there. Um, but I guess that's something that it's always there is like the discipline that we have and doing the things no matter what, like no matter how you feel. And for me, that's the only thing that in how I can see the results. Like doing things not motivated. Like is this was my only like way of seeing results in other areas of my life. So yeah, that's. But I don't know why it's not always there.
Okay. Okay. Perfect. I like it. I like it. Ever, do you want to talk? Do you want to guess? What is motivation for you?
I think something similar like Paulino, the motivation is a boost, will help you to start in some to start to do some tasks, but it's not always there. So you have to put your reps and do the things.
Perfect, perfect. That's correct. Actually, motivation is empty. Is a boost. Why do people want to feel motivated? Why? Because motivation actually exists. It is not like Maria Jose said. It is not always there. But when are people using motivation? First, to start things, right? So, for example, in your case, let's go to this. Let's imagine that we are a car, right? Like I want to be a Ferrari Superfast 812 because that's my dream car, and I'm gonna transform right now mentally into that. Okay, so I'm going to a hill, and I'm like, yeah, broom, broom, right? So I just enter 6 feet, and I go like this, and I feel motivated. But there is a hill, right? Here, right here is a hill. So I just with the motivation, I just put the gas, no, like full gas, and just like accelerate, accelerate, and then I'm like staying right here in fundamental minds in the first milestone, like almost here, but the motivation never is not consistent, right? So the motivation is a boost. Motivation is good when you're in hard times. Motivation is good when things are not going our way, and then we have that lucky day, right? So motivation, that we are using it as a boost. So when we're using motivation to start things, it feels good. And why? And this is something that why Maria Jose didn't knew, but motivation is not constant because relies on dopamine. Relies dopamine. Dopamine is this the things the chemical that we get when we are going to the gym, for example, or when we eat, when we smoke, when we have sex. Basically, it feels good in our head. That's why people watch every day. Just go like, oh, yes, I'm looking Gary Vee. I'm looking the emotional quotes. I'm looking how to do a fucking curl, and it feels nice, but it's not constant. It doesn't take action. So if we are a car, and I'm a Ferrari Superfast 812, right? Then what is my gasoline if I don't rely on motivation? That's a very good question, Ever. What is the gasoline of a high performer? Basically, rely on systems, focus, intention, and discipline. So, and these are just elements for the gasoline that we have. So, if you go, imagine that you go to your lab, your chemical lab, and you're putting shit all the way down. You're like, and you're just creating the gasoline, right? So you go to the valleys of death, go into the trenches, trying to be successful, and go to get the first client, and then you go all the way down, and even you don't feel motivated, but you keep going, and you keep going, and you keep going, and then at some point, you get luck, and let's say in this third milestone, you're like, oh, this feels nice, and then you feel motivated, and nitro, basically you just go all the way down the hill faster and faster and faster, but you never stopped. That's the thing. You never stop because you never rely on motivation. I never feel motivated when I send a text in the mornings. I don't feel motivated, nor excited, nor happy, nor sad. I'm just feel like a fucking robot, because that's my way of being, because that's the only way. You don't have to be like me. I'm just giving you contrast, right? So what is the gasoline? Basically, systems. What are systems? Routines. When you guys are doing Netflix, for example, Paulina and I are doing ClickUp, and we're doing like, oh, okay, what's our intention? What is our progress? What is this thing? That's a routine. Focus. What are we with the 99% of the opportunity that we have during the day of using the prefrontal cortex to make decisions and take action? Where am I throwing it, right? So we focus on high impact tasks. Intention, where are we going? Yep. There we go. So focus, high impact tasks. Intention, where are we going? Who am I becoming? Like, even at least at this point, guys, now that you've joined so many calls, we can talk more about where are we going. It is not the 10K, it is not having the first client, is becoming the person, our identity that holds it. Why? Because let's talk about a real example in real life. People, poor people, get to the lottery, they win the lottery, and guess what? 3 days, oh, I don't have cash. Oh, the cash is bad. Ah, no. Now there are people that has systems, focus, intention, and discipline that understood that to make cash, they have to make some certain things, right? So they identify as someone that can hold and sustain money. If you, in my case, for example, my life mission is to become a dad, right? So I want to have a family, I want to have a kid. So I need to become a man that actually can hold that. So what does he do? He keeps his word. He's always honorable. He never lies. He does XYZ values and whatever, right? But I already have that intention, meaning that I will be living my life with that identity. And even though I don't feel like him, I'm gonna take those actions. So the intention is, where am I going? Who am I become? Does that make sense to everyone on call? Yeah. Okay. Okay. Perfect. And discipline. Discipline. This is this is a weird topic for me because, for I don't know if you guys can relate. I would love to hear you, because discipline is basically, I thought that discipline was like, if someone tells you, for example, if I tell Paulino, "Hey, Paulino, put your tasks on ClickUp," and he does it, that's discipline. Nah, discipline is when Paulino tells Paulino, "Paulino, you should put the task on ClickUp." So he does it, right? When Paulino tells himself, "Hey, you should go to the gym," and Paulino is like, "No, I don't want to." Yeah, but you already say that. Yeah, right. See? And here's the thing, because Pauline and I already talked about this. He already intention during his week what are the spots or what are the hours that he's going to do CrossFit. So that is intention and a system. Why? Because it already has a due date. It has a time that is gonna be um, activated, let's say, or is gonna be created that space when he goes to CrossFit. The same thing goes to when we do the profile optimization, when we do the market research, when you join to the calls, we actually have the intention of joining so we can become better people, better persons, better versions of ourselves. Make sense? Perfect. So, what is discipline? Compromise with yourself, compromise with the promises that you tell yourself. That's basically the gasoline of a high performer. All right. Three, the high performer has a secret. I don't know. Before that, that is creates his own luck. A high performer creates his own luck. Okay, everyone is how is everyone feeling? Am I being too confusing? Everyone is feeling nice, bored. Okay, Stefan. I don't know if Stefan is hearing. Are you alive, my friend? Stefan Kaiser. Can you put that's Paulino? Okay, perfect.
Bro, yeah, I listening. So I am the gym, so I am with the mic turned off.
All good, my friend.
But listening all, so very good.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Don't worry, my friend. Perfect. I don't know where you are, but mute yourself because it's a lot of noise. Maria Jose Yañez, are you hearing? How is your kid? Uh he just abandoned the ship. Nah, don't worry. All right. So everyone feels aligned. Okay, let's go. Mm. This and ClickUp are my favorite topics. Like for real. So a high performer creates his own luck. How? That's a very good question, Ever. How does a high performer create his own? So let's imagine that we have a bubblegum machine, right? And the Goggle machine that we had on graphics, for example, a bubblegum machine that we had on the malls, right? So we have, let's see, yeah, let's use this. Let's use this. So let's say that we have this bubblegum machine, right? So we have, let's use white, we have yellow, we have red, and we have purple, right? This others doesn't matter. So now this bubblegum machine is our life, right? We want to get the yellow ones because the yellow ones are gold. The yellow ones are is when we get to the when we met that girl, when we get that client, when we, I don't know, when that sunset or that wave that we took is just like woo, you know. So that the yellow is what everyone wants, right? However, the yellow ones are few. So we get, if you every time you have to turn around, right? When you do this, everyone is seeing my screen, right? When you do this, that's an action. So every action makes a reaction that is basically having a ball. We want the yellow ones. Okay. But there are few. So that is telling me that there are few. So what is usually the the gums that we have? So white is basically learnings, let's say. Or whites are just basically um, very few. It doesn't do anything, right? So when we, for example, when we are on this call, the impact is like, yeah, we are learning, but it's just very low. It is not impacting my life if I'm not using this information. So if you're just joining and you're just hearing me and then you do nothing, that's white. So you do white, right? And then you do an action, blah, it goes white. And you're like, okay, I have one white. And then you turn another one. For example, you send the first proposal, and then you have a red one. It's like, oh, I got a client that asked me for my CV. Ah, perfect. Okay, but why is it red? What does that mean? You know, it is supposed to be yellow, huh? So you think, okay, I get my first client, let's say, but it's red. That means that it's a lesson. The reds are lessons. The more reds that you have, then the more you know. And then let's say you have purple. The purple ones are just weird, just special. The moments that you're like, what the fuck? For example, if Paulino just take off his hat and just have a long hair right there, we're like, what? That's amazing, man. So those are weird experiences, something that you can appreciate. So in life, those are the experiences that we have. So you have white, you have white, you have white, you have white. So how many turns, how many actions, if this is an action, how many actions do you have to make to get the yellow ones, right? And you don't want to have, in my case, right? And this is perspective. I don't want to have a lot of yellow ones. I want to have a whole building that goes to the top of red ones, of purple, of white ones. I want to have like all of the balls, even the ones that they don't have, all the gums, all of the things that life can offer. So I can, people are be like, oh, I only have three yellows. Ah, I have 847,630 red ones. You know, so it's just my collection of mistakes. but you have to take action because yes, then you got the yellow, then you got the girl, then you got the yada yada yada. But it's actually the journey. So how you create your own luck, taking action. So the high performer understands that luck comes from the input of his energy, intention, and action. So he takes action to get the yellow, the let's say the gold ones. However, every gum he collects is an is a different action for him. Because then you take action, right? You take action. Sorry. Then you take action, but it's what happens? You're taking action with the left hand. What happens if it is right? What happens if you do it with your feet? Why what I go like this is like, what if you're doing things differently? That's how you learn, right? Because it is basically same. Um, you're in the same position. For example, if you're unemployed, right? I don't know if any of you guys have been unemployed in your life. I've been unemployed for, I don't know, a lot of time. But the last time that I was unemployed, I already knew all of these learnings that we have in the community, LinkedIn, Upwork. So I was unemployed, but I was like, same experience, different knowledge. So I'm like, I'm no longer afraid of unemployment. It's just like, I already know how to do this. And I just massively perfect action, get this fucking coffees, and then get a job. So that's the thing. So you get the more experiences that you have, the more action that you take creates confidence. So you understand how to take different action, and then you can get the yellow ones. It's basically like selling. When you sell, when you're in a sales call, you're basically failing, failing, failing. You're taking F's, you're taking L's, you're basically, and you have intrusive thoughts saying like, you're a piece of shit, you're not gonna get any clients, you're not good at this, and self sabotage, intrusive thoughts, and everything. And at some point, you're doing so much. And you're having so much calls that is just like you're putting yourself in a position that is mathematically impossible to not get a call, to not get a sale. Why? Because it's basically okay. Let's do the math. If you take 100 calls, you can at least close one, right? Like it makes sense. But the people don't want to make the effort to get 100 calls, right? So that's why they join the community, so you don't have to take 100 calls, and that's why many, and then we get to the clients. Yeah, makes sense. Align. All right, perfect. All right, and the fourth one. Yeah, we are already closing. Just to let you guys know, this is the last one. Um, everything is my fault. Just to Let's go back from the mindset or the beliefs, the course of a high performer. It is everything is my fault. I'm never motivated, and I have a gasoline, and I create my own luck. Right? I'm never motivated, and everything is my fault. Okay, Paulino, what do you think about this? What are you? You know.
Sorry, I was mute. What do I think about this? It makes sense for me.
Okay.
Um, like you mentioned, I uh, sometimes I have that thoughts that I don't want to do this. I don't want to go to the gym. I don't want to. And in what that kind of things came to me, I just forced me to do it. Like I don't want to go to the gym. Okay, you are going to the gym today. If you don't want it, you're going to the gym today just because. That kind of things. Um, some other things that I'm applying or understanding is that the motivation should came in backwards and not in the first position. I mean, if you set
Mhm.
something to yourself, you say something that you're going to accomplish something, and you do it, that is wow, that is that palm in your back that you really did that. And that's
Mhm.
where a whole different motivation came in. It's not the one to boost you, but it's a completely different one. And that is, like, let's say, the good motivation instead of the bad motivation. So if you can delay that uh, some sort of uh, motivation, uh, it will feel like nicer or bigger than you thought in the first place. And let me
Mhm.
try to use an example. For example,
Mhm.
I never, or the hardest exercise that I had to make in CrossFit is the ring muscle up. That you
Mhm.
basically use the ring, not the bar, but you use the ring. I have 12 years doing CrossFit, and I did that at the beginning of this year. And and nobody comes to you and drop some dopamines in your ear, right? Like, wow, you did it. But after I did the first one, it was like the whole day was perfect. No matter what, it was perfect. So
Yeah.
that's the motivation that I'm talking about. So
Mhm.
if you get to that point that I know that I want to make a ring muscle up, I know that I
Yeah.
want to make this work, to this freelancing thing work, I have
Mhm.
to do my reps. And when I get there, it will feels like I don't know. I don't know how this is going to feel. Stay tuned.
Yeah. That's basically it. So what Pauline is saying actually, and there is something like when people are making sports or are doing some kind of sport, they already understand more about life. Now you only have to integrate that into your daily, on a daily basis, right? Why? Because Paulina said, "Oh, I just go to the gym or go to CrossFit because I have to," and that's one thing that is basically a high performer always chooses being uncomfortable. Always chooses to being uncomfortable. Why? Because there is the growth. That's the only way to grow. Because the pressure, because the things that you go through, because the pain and this, self sabotage and um, words that you're saying to yourself only shows you who you really are when you're uncomfortable. It's the only way that you can see who you really are and change. Why? Because when you are, for example, if you're in a sales call, when you are on a sales call, for me, it's very uncomfortable, right? I'm not inherited good at sales, but I mean, yeah, I'm not good at sales because I don't like it. Meaning, um, that's what I do on my daily basis because I feel uncomfortable, and that's why, basically going through all the emotions and feeling like I'm not enough and I'm not gonna close, and just like facing that my mind is lying to myself because I'm thinking like I'm not gonna close. Not even in the call, before the call. Then I'm feeling bad about myself because I feel like I thought that I was never gonna close. And then I go to the call being like, hey, of course the client is gonna be like, the fuck, who are you, man? You know? So that's basically it. If you're saying, oh, I'm not good at talking to people, or I'm not good at doing the things that I tell myself, then you're gonna find a way to make it right, because your mind, this is something that is actually psychological true. Your mind will always find a way to make the lie come true. Like, and in summary is, your mind is always lying to you. Why? Because if you're telling yourself, I am not good enough to get the client, I'm not good enough to do the reps, I'm not do yeah, you're right. And you're like looking, always be looking for the data points needed to make that belief true. And this is like, if you believe in manifestation and everything like that, this is the core of it. That is basically whatever the think and grow rich is basically the truth. Because if you go back on the way that you think about yourself and the results that you're having, then you're gonna be like, yeah, I believe that I can be a dad, for example. You're like, cool. What else? um I don't think that I can grow besides this amount of money that I can earn. I actually don't deserve it. So you're gonna earn more money, and you're gonna self-sabotage and remind yourself that you're not good enough for that. And it's not even conscious. It is the subconscious, and that's basically the things. So everyone understood this, the last one. It is more you know spiritual, maybe, or just like neurological, let's say. Yeah. Okay, perfect. So, to just closing thoughts and just go back with everything that we talk about in this call, is what is a high performer? What is the identity? What are the core beliefs? And what are the pillars that Paulino mentioned at the beginning of the call? It takes responsibility. Everything is my fault. Everything that I have in life I deserve, because I already took the first steps on this life, because I already took the first steps in this journey. Number two is never motivated. If you're overthinking, is because you're not doing enough. When you find yourself thinking, is because you're not doing. When you are thinking, you are not doing. I need to highlight this. God damn. If you're overthinking, is because you're not doing. Amazing. And motivation is a boost. Let's use it. Let's be positives. So motivation is a boost. It is good to start things. It is good to feel good. It releases dopamine. It is a dopamine hit, basically. Dopamine hit. So this is what motivation is for. The gasoline that we want to have is systems, focus, intention, and discipline. Number three is a high performer always creates his own luck, the input of his energy, and we can think about the bubblegum machine. And like Paulino said, always chooses being uncomfortable, always chooses the growth, always chooses to be more. Why? There is a video that I recently saw, actually, on a podcast, that it was basically people always keep living the 3 days all over again for years. Like seeing, watching the same people, going to the same parties, watching the same people all over his life, their life, one all like again, like in a loop. Like I at this point I'm 26, and I know people, there are doctors in my specific case, that they are living like they never left high school, you know. And it's just like, wow, you really picked a high school. Like the best thing that could happen was like being the cool guy at 15, and that's it. And I'm like, "Ugh, yeah, nah." And I know from the faces, and I understand that, nice, Ever. Ever knows what I'm talking about. I just can feel it. So, um yeah, what reality you're living, where we always live in a loop and cycles. That is the cycle of motivation, the cycle we try something different, the cycle of love, the cycle of. So where are the cycles that I'm living, and how can I become a high performer, so you can actually grow and stop repeating 3 days in a row. So having saying that, I just open the mic. Questions, comments.
I have a question.
Shoot.
Um, what I've been feeling lately is Paulino was saying before that sometimes we don't want to do the things, like we are seeking for motivation to be able to do things. But I'm feeling lately that I want to do the things. I want to do like all of these high impact actions that I know I have to do, that I have on my phone, that I have like the list. I know the next step. I know what I have to do, but I feel lately that I don't have the energy. And I don't know if it is like physical energy or mental energy. Um, I feel that I don't have it, so I don't do it because I'm like taking care of myself. But I don't know, like I think there is a thin line between taking care of you, but also like pushing through to get like what you want to achieve. So I don't know, what do you do if you ever feel like that? Maybe I know maybe you're a robot and you don't feel like tired, but yeah.
No, I always feel like shit. Actually, like I always feel like I don't want to do anything. But nah, that's a lie. I always want to do everything. Actually, like yeah, whatever. But I remember when I was starting this journey, and my high tip here is understand the belief behind of it, right? Because if you're saying, "Oh, I already know what's the next step. I already know what I have to do." If you already knew, you already done it, right? So it is easy. Oh, I already know, but it's like, oh, it's such a burden. It is too easy, so I'm not gonna. So you're always looking for excuses. So do you wanna like? I love this question. Do you know the difference between excuses and justification?
No.
Okay, you justify when you do something. The excuses is when you're not doing. So action, justification. There's a why behind. Excuses. I haven't done anything. So you find a way to excuse yourself. Like, oh yeah, it's all right. It's all right not to do this. It's all right not to do. Okay, perfect. And it's okay. It is good. So when I was starting this high performing thing, um, I broke down the task like at as far as I could. For example, if you wanna do the I don't know, let's say that you wanna create a LinkedIn post that for many people are just like a burden. You don't know how what to post or how it is a lot of words. You're not feel comfortable. So it's a lot of feelings before even movement, right? So you just dissect everyone can you hear me? Yeah. Okay, perfect. So you wanna break down the task. So let's say the definition of done, right, is post on LinkedIn. So you double click that. That is basically reverse engineering. That is basically create a text, right? But for create a text, you have to have a goal. And before to have a goal, you need to go to GPT and try to give you context that it needs so you can give you ideas. And before that, you need to open the computer. And before that, you need to open the computer, open GPT. So what's the next step?
Open
So
the
what's next?
computer.
Bombo clat. Basically. So break it down like as far as you can, Like if you want to go to the gym, for example, the first step is not even go to the gym or weights. It's put the tennis on, you know? Put the gear on. And then you open the car, and then you put your body inside the car, and then you close the car, and then you fucking go to the gym with the traffic in Costa Rica, and then you beep to the bike that it just ran over someone, and you're like, motherfucker, you know, and then you go to the gym. All clear? Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Thank you, Anita.
So Yeah, of course. Someone else? Oh, I've been baby steps basically, yeah. And I even like in January, I have pictures of myself just sleeping with my computer. Like that's how I sleep. I wish it was a joke, but that's how I sleep. I just like put the computer here and then, yeah,
I believe you because you don't sleep.
basically. I have witnesses. All right. Anyone, Paulino, Maria Jose Yañez, anyone have got any question, comments?
Yeah, I'm good. I'm aligned with everything that has been shared. And as I understand, and uh, yeah, the hardest part, the first step, and most of the time we don't want to do it, but if you start doing it, it will become a habit. So if you keep it, and maybe it's something that you mentioned, Maria, uh, that you know everything that has that needs to be done, but you don't feel like fine to do it. It's like, or what I am understanding in my current journey, it's trying to find that rhythm, that piece of raising the bar in a rhythm or in a piece that you can sustain. uh, it will give you that sense of, or that's what I'm feeling, right? The sense of that you're doing well, and you don't get drained with everything around, because everyone has, I don't know, responsibilities, problems, issues, whatever you name it, and we have to deal with that. And there is where the justification and the excuses comes in. So you can justify that you couldn't go to the gym because you have an issue with your car or whatever, but you can use an excuse if I just don't get into the car to get to the gym. So that's basically my final thought on that one.
Yeah, thank you, Pauline. Yeah, I feel like um, trying to dig deeper into what is that I feeling. I feel like I'm so tired, like mentally and physically, um, that I feel like if I start doing the things for this freelance journey, but I'm doing it already tired, that I'm not going to do it like at my best. But even something that is not good is better than nothing. So maybe I just need to just do it and don't worry about if it is good enough or I don't know. But yeah, but always respecting like my boundaries of energy and my limits.
Yeah. Um, the thing is, when you go there, go beyond your boundaries. Like
Okay.
if you get to your boundaries or saving energy, you don't know what you're capable of. That's the
Okay.
thing. No. And for you, Maria Jose, I would ask yourself if you have something to take note. It is basically you mentioned how if I do it tired and if I do it like this, I'm not gonna do it in my best days. So what is a best day look like for you? How do you feel? What are you doing? How are you doing it? Right?
Mhm.
Make sense?
Yeah.
And for everyone at this call, I just share with you the high performance fundamentals doc that we created in this call because you are the ones committed to do this. It is on the chat. Don't let imposter syndrome get the better of you. Basically, yeah. That's wisdom right there. Maria Jose Yañez. Thank you for sharing. So yeah, guys, thank you so much for joining. Let's close this call. A lot of learnings. I wanna let you guys analyze everything that we went through and take notes from everything that we went through. Actually, you can go to this document and try to understand what goes beyond for you, right? All right. So, guys, have a great night. All right. GG.
Thank you.
Bye
Thank you.
bye. Thank you, Daniel.
Bye. Yeah, buddy.
Thank you.
Bye.